You're checking social media, Dad. Sell him, get rid of him. And then 90th minute, he's the next coming of whatever.
Here we go. He's on his way now.
Welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And last night, Birmingham City left it very late against Sheffield Wednesday, but we did eventually win the game 2-0 to take all 3 points. It wasn't a perfect performance, but let's take some positives. It was an away win on the road, a clean sheet for Beadle, and also Kyogo's first championship goal. So, Dad, just finished the game. What's your thoughts off the back of it?
3 points, Matt. Really, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If we hadn't have won that game, if we would have drawn it, or even, dare I say, lost it, you would have started asking serious questions. But I still think there are serious questions because based upon some of the performance, which we'll briefly go through in a moment, we sort of went to our usual away structure, low tempo in the first half. The first half wasn't very good at all, really, was it? And you're thinking, it's going to be another one of those days. But ultimately, that final whistle goes, you've got the 3 points. There's nothing more you can get. And we have to take that and move on. We know that the team is going to look quite different in a few weeks' time when we get the new players in, when we get some of the injuries back. But all we can do at the moment is just do this, grind the result out against these types of teams. And we did it.
I think that's a good way of putting it, grinding it out.
Yeah.
And I think, as you say, Dad, the first half was really poor and the second half was much better in terms of creating chances. Couldn't quite put it in. As I said in the intro, we left it late. I think it's 80 minutes, our first goal. We just couldn't get it over the line, could we?
No.
Whatever we tried, we just couldn't get it. And that was a bit of a theme. We mentioned it wasn't a perfect performance. We lacked that killer instinct in the final third, didn't we? We lacked that final pass, that final decision. Looked a little bit disjointed, dare I say, in the first half.
Yeah, I think the first half was
a lack of composure.
Very disjointed, I think.
Yeah. What I'd say, Dad, is, when we first kicked off, literally 5 seconds into the game, the ball went up and our line was so high, it was so aggressive. I was almost rubbing my hands going, yes, we're going to go at these, we're going to be aggressive, we're going to move the ball quickly. And actually, it was the opposite. We moved the ball slowly.
Yeah.
As I said, we looked a bit disjointed, lack of composure in the final third. And it was, as I said, I thought we were going to be set up to be quite aggressive in this game. It didn't quite work out that way. And in the first half, Dad, I felt like we got a little bit bullied as well. They were quite physical. We weren't quite winning those individual battles. And, I think we have recruited in terms of for January, Jan Solis, who's going to be a physical player, signed some attacking players this January, but I still think we need to focus on our defensive side of the game, Dad.
I think there will be. I think Chris Davis a few matches ago was speaking about the need to replace Cashin. So we are going to need another centre half without an absolute doubt. Solis is a defensive midfielder, and we didn't see an awful lot of him in that game because he came on fairly late on. But he did show that he's ain't going to be pushed off the ball. A couple of times he's got his body in front of the ball, and he tries to move forward. He lost the ball a few times, but don't forget he's only been in the country a few hours, so he's he needs training, he needs to get up to speed, and I think he's going to be a top player for us. I'm hoping he's going to be a top player for us. But I thought in the first half, and we're going to break this game down now and be honest. The first half, we kept giving the ball away. Two of Tommy Doyle's corners literally went straight out. Obviously, he's aiming for a deep cross to the far post, but literally straight out. And then straight after that, Wagner had a corner on the other side, did a grass cutter straight to their player. So I thought, wonder what's going on here. And
especially off what we have been seeing, Dad, our set pieces recently have been decent. I know we haven't converted many of them, but at least Tommy Doyle's been whipping it in.
They were better in the second half.
They were better.
I think they were finding the mark in the second half. I like it when we put the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper has to think because we're putting the ball right under the crossbar. August Prisk, he's gonna chew them up. He's perfect for him, isn't he?
Yeah.
So we are gonna get there. But the first half was very disjointed. Is a fantastic word for the first half. We were missing and sloppy with our passes. We were giving the ball back too easily to them, and we also didn't look. I thought defensively we looked fairly comfortable, to be honest. But you've got to remember, with the greatest respect, you're playing Sheffield Wednesday. They haven't scored a goal since Boxing Day. They've not won a home game all season, so they are going to be the type of team that you would expect to win against, and they didn't really pose us too many problems, to be honest.
I think but I think that's due to their lack of depth and quality in the squad.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Ingelsson in the first half, he was causing Clara and Neumann not trouble necessarily, but he was throwing his physicality around. And if he
Yeah.
had better players to link up with him, we could have been in trouble in certain parts of that first half.
Yeah.
But we were in control. Defensively, our shape was decent in the first half because it's that kind of a chess match in the first half, isn't it? You're sussing each other out. It's a little bit of back and forth.
It's a tempo, Matt, and we talk about this so often, don't we, on this channel, about how different we look when we speed the tempo up. When we look very slow in the first half. I think Chris Davis might say it's okay to go in 0-0. You're in the game, and particularly us. We concede early goals, don't we? So to go in at 0-0 for us is an absolute bonus, I suppose. And as Blues fans, we're thinking this is Sheffield Wednesday. We need to win this game, but we went in 0-0, and I don't think there was any real danger from Sheffield Wednesday. They had the odd. I mean, Bannon had one shot that went just over the bar, should have been closed down. But that's what he'll do if you give him space.
My last comment on the first half, there, because we'll move on to the positives the second half now, is that we made the basics look difficult to do. The simple passes, the touches, the move, the simple basics of football, we looked like we were challenging and struggling to do them.
Yeah.
But what I will say there was a couple of nice link-ups between Tommy Doyle and Stansfield. I thought Stansfield did give us those little runs into the pockets, from time to time. Tommy Doyle did make some nice passes to Stansfield to give a balanced argument in the first half.
I think Ducksh as well. I mean, he's obviously scored the first goal in the second half, but he made some little, because he's very much a link-up player, Ducksh, isn't he? Yeah, we know he's not physical. We know that now. I don't think we can really criticise him now because he's not that type of player. We need other players to have that physical strength. But you could see some of the little deft touches. He put Kumas in, didn't he? Put Stano in. So he's a player, and he gets his goal. So he could also turn out to be quite a really important player for us. Is he that number 10? Is he?
He's always looking for the first touch, first pass. He doesn't want to hold on to the ball. He wants to release it quickly, but the way he releases it is by playing his teammates in.
But you made me laugh when we was watching, because we and Matt watched this together because we couldn't go. I was working till 5 o'clock, so we couldn't go to this one. And I was sitting with Matt, and I think in the second half, the ball came across, and Ducksh was on the 18-yard line. He dummied the ball, it ran through his leg, and he virtually got off his chest. What are you doing? Because he went straight to a Sheffield Wednesday player, didn't you?
Yeah, but when you do a dummy, you have to communicate with the players around you that you're doing a dummy.
Well, again, what I think of, obviously, he's on a different wavelength to the rest of the team, which obviously shouldn't happen. But your reaction was hilarious. I wish I'd recorded that. That would make real good box office TV. That would. So first half we went in 0-0. We had some chances. I mean, Kumas had a chance. He went through and defender blocked it, and it went wide. This was like late on. And like you say, Stano had a couple of shots. He shot it in the box from a pass from Duck. So it wasn't that we were completely plastic in the first half.
No.
We had a few chances.
It was a lack of killer instinct again.
Yeah,
we've seen this at home, Dad, on certain games where we've gone in 0-0 or we've only gone in 1-0 up, and then the second half comes and then teams apply the pressure and you rue those missed chances. And I felt like it was going to be the same again. I predicted 0-0 before the start of the game, and I thought at one point I was going to be right because we were chipping away and it weren't going in. And that's the reason why I predicted that, because two teams with a lack of quality in the final third.
Well, we've only, before this game, only scored 9 goals away from home all season. Sheffield Wednesday don't score goals at all, so you are right. I mean, I predicted 1-0 to us, and then Kyogo went and ruined it for me. But we'll come on to that in a moment. Now, second half started, and they had a real good chance. The Cadamartri, who looked miles offside, but he hit the post. Because this is what games are about, aren't they? They're won and lost by small margins.
Margins, yeah.
If that had have gone in, that would have counted, because the linesman, from what I could see, didn't have his flag up, but it hit the post and it came out. I thought that was a bit of a let off. And
I think Norman got a nick on it. It was a deflection.
Oh, okay. I think fair play to him then. Yeah.
I think,
but so anyway, it went out. But then I felt we, in the second half, we did start to up the tempo, start to impose ourselves a bit, and we started to look a little bit more like the team we want to see. When we're fast on the ball, we had some intricate passes. I loved some of the passes on the right between Roberts and Wata, and the overlaps and the crosses. That was really, really good. But the ball through from Roberts to Ducksh early on, he shot straight at the goalkeeper, and then a Wata fired from outside the box soon after that, and then the goalkeeper saved from the corner. But as soon as we increased that tempo, we looked much more dangerous. We looked like we were gonna do something, but it wasn't quite. We didn't quite get that. There's a Wagner free kick as well, from which was on the right hand side, and it fell to Neumann, who was actually on the 6-yard
Oh
line,
yeah.
and he hit it.
Just had to get a toe and redirect it, but in the end he got his
Yeah.
skied it. But
If he tried to, I think he used his foot. But if he'd have tried to use his knee or his thigh, I think that would have gone in, because it's his foot that lofted it over, wasn't it? But that was only less than 6 yards out. Then there was a double save soon after that from Ducksh, and then the goalkeeper saved. Great save from the goalkeeper, by the way. I mean, fair play to Cooper. Did very well, because he saved Ducksh's, and then the rebound went to Robert, who lashed it, and he saved it again.
Sorry, Dad, did you mention the bit with Tommy Doyle as well, where Cooper kind of went back on his line? That was
I think that's a little. Is that?
That was that was earlier. Than
yes,
that.
it was actually. Yeah, Doyle floated the ball in, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And the goal penalty. And I thought that was in.
Yeah, he looked
and then
it,
the
didn't he?
referee's looking at his watch. Obviously, got the buzzer on his watch, hasn't he? So I'm sure, it would have been close, but it didn't give it. So we had these chances, and then the substitutions, Kyogo and Jon Solis came on to make his debut on 65 minutes for Kumas and Doyle. And that meant Stano had to move to the left and Kyogo went into the number 9. But I just wonder what Doyle thinks, because obviously Chris Davies has shown his hand a little bit there, isn't he, by replacing... in my opinion, and I may be wrong here, I think that Solis is much more of a natural replacement for Paik rather than Doyle, because Doyle is an attacking midfielder, isn't he? I suppose you could argue that
So is
Paik as well.
Similar,
so
they're both
very
similar.
So it's either or, isn't it?
I think Doyle and Paik are the same profile of midfielder. That either 6 or 8 who try and get you on the front foot, whereas Solis is a specific defensive midfielder who's going to be break up. So I think it's a Wata and Solis. They're the same profile of player.
Yeah.
Doyle and Paik are the same profile of centre midfielder as well.
But is it giving a message to Doyle that actually this new chap is going to basically be more competition, because Paik stays on regardless?
He's not subbing Paik, is he?
No.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah.
He's not subbing Paik and he's not subbing Wata.
Yeah. So and again, it's going to raise questions about, whether Doyle, who I thought, again, didn't have a fantastic game, by the way, here. I thought he had patches, but I thought his last couple of games, he hasn't been the player we've seen in the previous games. I think he's given the ball away a few times, more than what we used to. But, notwithstanding the fact, I think he's a really good player, and I'd like to keep him, but he ain't going to stay at our club if he ain't going to get, regular game time. No. And... I'm not saying that that replacing him for this game was the wrong choice, but makes you wonder whether or not and how Chris Davies sees Doyle in the team.
Especially when it seems like it's based off blind loyalty. As I said, it's Paik and Wata. They are the two that are getting into that squad regardless. And if you're Doyle, we've had it before, Dad, earlier in the season where he's done absolutely nothing wrong, and then Paik or Wata come back from injury and they're just straight in the team immediately without no questions asked. I don't think it's good enough. I think if you earn the shirt, you deserve to stay there.
Yeah.
Well,
Chris Davies is going to have a dilemma with all these new players coming in now. I'm sure we'll see a few players going out as well, by the way. But with all these new players, he's going to have to try and find a way of accommodating them so that he gets the best out of the team. And you are going to get disgruntled players that want to be in the team, but then Chris Davies needs to pick them based upon
merit.
Yes, on merit. That's the best way of putting it, not just because they're a certain type of player. But anyway, the game went on. 74th minute, Stano battled to win the ball, and he squared it to Kyogo, who literally should have hit it first time. I think he came through quite fast, but he's a professional footballer, and he basically, I don't know, he shinned it or healed it or whatever. But anyway, it just went off, and it was a really good chance because that was on the 6-yard line as well, virtually.
He's checking social media, Dad. Sell him, get rid of him. And then 90th minute, he's the next coming of whatever.
Here we go. He's on his way now. 82 minutes, Wagner. And again, I must say as well, I thought Wagner was poor against Swansea. I thought he was much more solid in this game, Wagner. Much better and looked much more composed. And I think, again, it takes players a few games to adjust, doesn't it? But 82nd minute, had a cross, came into the box. Sheffield Wednesday defender headed it to Stansfield, who shot, and this is the goal, went to Ducksh. He tapped it in. They were screaming for offside. It looked close. We discussed this. It looked tight.
It looked close.
Who cares?
Okay. Yeah. Well, we've had goals scored against us, and it's close.
Yeah.
So why?
If there was VAR, that would be a borderline one, I think. But it's hard. From the angles we've seen, it was hard to see.
Yeah. I'm sure by now, by the time this goes out, we're recording this quite fresh. I'm sure there's a slow motion, frame by frame shot.
From a Sheffield Wednesday podcast or something like that.
Probably, yeah. But so people might have a better angle of it by the time this goes out and it's on YouTube. But at the time of recording and when we watched the game live, it looked borderline.
Yeah.
It looked close.
It did,
That's
but
what we were
who
saying,
cares?
but-
He went, I mean, that was on 82 minutes, and we thought, right, that's it, 1-0
Yeah.
up. And then obviously the game moved on. We were 82 minutes in, so we had 8 minutes plus stoppage time to go. More substitutions were made on 87. Scott Wright came on. It's good to see him back. He came on for Stano on the left in the 87th minute. And then in the 90 minutes, Ducksh was substituted for Williamson. And then we had the moment.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk us through the Kyogo goal?
Wow, it was a big mistake from Sheffield Wednesday at the back, weren't it? He obviously
pass.
completely misinterpreted either the speed of the ball or where Kyogo was and the goalkeeper was. He obviously passed it right in the direction of Kyogo. But fair play, Dad. He had a lot to do from there still in terms of he chased it down, good energy, good speed again. And arguably, he scored the most difficult chance he's had.
I know, it's amazing.
That thin, narrow, because he had to get it across the goal with an outswinging foot, and then it was technically quite difficult to do.
That crossed my mind as well. I thought about all the good chances you've missed. really easy chances.
Yeah.
And you go and score a goal like that. That is not easy. That's not easy. But that I think we had a chat, didn't we, about Kyogo during the game. And, obviously, it's a lot of it's to do with confidence as well with strikers, isn't it? That will really boost his confidence, that will. And I was really pleased. He was so happy when over to the Blues fans. Did you see him?
Yeah, it was amazing.
So happy. And the Blues fans were so happy for him as well. But, of course, that's one goal. Now, and that's his first goal in the league for us. He's got to build on that now. He's got to build on that because he's shown us now he knows where the back of the net is. And a fair play to Chris Davis as well for making that substitution. And bringing him on because a lot of Blues fans, including myself, I'm in that category as well. I've seriously doubted whether we should keep him or not, and I've said that on previous podcasts. But do you know what? If he's scoring goals and we're picking up 3 points.
I mean, let's calm down. He scored one goal
Yeah,
from a back pass.
I am saying that.
Let's chill.
Yeah,
but I completely take you.
I'm not saying offering him a 10-year contract. I'm just saying it's what he's there to do, isn't it?
Sure,
and and obviously, fans will forgive him for putting effort in, and as the Blues fans have been, I think the Blues fans have been brilliant with him. I think
patient and
absolutely amazing.
Getting behind him,
giving him support, and I think when he went over to his celebration, I was thinking he was giving his appreciation back to them. It was really good to see.
Yeah.
Really nice connection there between the Blues fans and Kyogo, and fair play to him. And you know what? If you can put a little run together, and I say it's only one goal, then fine. If not, then sell him.
It's either lifetime contract or he's out the door, isn't it? There's no in between with Kyogo. Which one is it?
Final thoughts, Matt, on Sheffield Wednesday. What do you think about them?
They look like a club who are in the exact position you'd expect them to be in terms of you can tell they're a club struggling behind the scenes. There's a lack of depth. You can tell their defensive line is full of youngsters. To be fair play to them. They hung in there for 80 minutes. They've clearly got that desire and that fighting spirit. They're a physical team. I feel a bit sorry for them because they're clearly a team who are going through that level of turbulence. I wish them all the best, genuinely, in League One next season because they are going to go down. And just generally as a club, I hope it swings round for them and their fortunes turn around because they're a big club. It's good for English football, Dad, when big clubs do well. And Sheffield Wednesday are a big club, so I hope their fortunes turn around. But for me,
they're good fans, aren't they, Matt? Sheffield Wednesday. They always are. They always, even now, they're selling out their away ends. We know watching the team at this level, they're selling out. And them fans deserve better. And obviously, they've got rid of the Chancery now, so I'm sure they'll get their ownership sorted out eventually. But of course, they're derived of players because just to survive, they've had to sell players. And it looked to me like Barry Banham was saying goodbye at the end of that game.
Yeah, it did.
Because I know there's speculation about him going to other clubs, Preston, and I think a few other clubs are interested. But it'd be sad if he goes. But again, from what I've read, he'd be doing it because it'll save them some money.
Yeah, exactly. A person like that's always got the interest of the club, usually, isn't it?
Yeah, but from Blues' perspective, Matt, we can't ask for more than 3 points. We needed those 3 points. We got them in the end, and it's a much more positive podcast than it would have been after 80 minutes.
It's very true.
But we move on now to our home
Still
game.
lots to work on. Can't deny that still, Dad. So, we take the 3 points, we take them and run, and hopefully develop in this January transfer window, crack on, and hopefully have a better second half of the season away from home.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as always, Birmingham City supporters, we would love to hear from you. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Sheffield Wednesday supporters, we'd love to hear from you as well. If you have any thoughts on the game, please drop us a comment. We'd love to hear from all fans on this podcast. And if you like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and we're also over on Spotify, so you can listen and watch us over there. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and press that bell icon so you get notified every time we post. And myself and Dad will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.